Hello everyone, it's Diane. I am going to take an hour out of this crazy day. It's just one of those days where nothing bad, but it's just like everything takes longer than planned, and I feel like the day is just getting away from me. So I am going to take an hour at least and work on these journals. I pretty much finished signatures for one. These are the 3 Vintage Lady journals, Nidra, Marcia, and I forgot the other one's name again because it's not on the cover. I saw it on an illustration. It has her name on the illustration, but Patty, that's who it is. So I don't have the covers right over here, but if you saw previous videos, you know which journals I'm working on. So I have these signatures pretty much done for one. So I have a bunch of stuff prepared to get the other signatures going. So as you can see on the first page of each signature, I have wide lace sewn on as a pocket, and it wraps around to the other side. So that's what I'm working on for the next 2 journals. I just did a page. Where'd it go? I just finished one. I was going to show you. I don't know where I put it. Okay, so we're just going to start on this one. It's going to use the same lace anyway. I didn't have enough of this one to use for the other 2, so I chose this nice eyelet. And because the bottom edge is uneven, I am just going to take this pretty satin ribbon. Can you see the detailing in that? And I'm just going to sew that to the bottom. It's going to be a lot of sewing in this video, I think. Nice and very pleasant weather today for me. I love it. It's probably low 70s, if that. And I have a thin sweater on. It's not a knit sweater, you know, like, it's not a sweater, but it's a little jackety thing, but it's very thin. And I'm comfortable in that. Until I get going here, then I'll probably have to take it off. For some reason, I always get warm when I start crafting. So there's a nice breeze, but I closed my window because a really, really noisy vehicle just drove by. I don't know why men have to have such noisy cars, trucks. So I closed the window just in case that happens again. So I have that sewn to the bottom. It covers up that jaggedy edge, and I am just going to sew around and make a pocket. Got a little bit of overhang here. You can see I did some stenciling on this. Oh, that's something I didn't do ahead of time. Was I did the stenciling on the next book, the second book, but not the third. And so the other page that I already didn't have stenciling on it, so I have to go back and do it. But I prefer to do the stenciling before I sew things on. There's that one. Now the other one, oh yeah, we're going to use this. I love this piece of fabric or lace. I've had it for a long time. I am finally using it, but it won't be used up because there's quite a bit there. Got some pages here ready for it. I want to say thank you to you guys for all of your interest in the vintage things I find at flea markets. Yeah, it makes it great. I don't have to think, is somebody going to want this if I buy it? If it's not something I want to use and I just want to put it in my shop, I am pretty positive that somebody's going to want it. And that's pretty cool. That I can have that confidence so I can bring stuff home and put it in my shop and know that someone is going to get it and enjoy using it in their crafty projects. Like the bird cards. I couldn't leave those bird cards there because I knew you guys are crazy about bird stuff. But anyway, I do thank you for that. And even when I show a haul, things aren't in my shop yet, and you let me know what you're interested in, and that helps. I think this is the right way, but I think I put this one on with the wrong way out, but it shows up better. So I might turn this around because the embroidery shows up better on that side. I love that this is sheer. I'll show you on the other one. I already put some cards in. So you can see how nice it looks with the cards in it being sheer. You can see through it. I like it. So you can see I also have some seam binding on that, so I'm going to do that. I think I have that seam binding out over here. Of course I can't see it at the moment. So this is the seam binding I currently have in my shop. I didn't put any of this in the shop because this was all I had of that color, but the rest, they're all kind of similar. They all had similar colors, but maybe in different combinations. Some combinations they looked one way on the spool, and as I got going on it, it looked different because they were hand dyed. I'm just going to take this one. Those are in my shop with dark gray, navy blue, and black. They're all in one bag. So it's 12 yards, 6 pieces. You get 2 pieces of ombre, 3 pieces of ombre, and then those 3 dark colors, and it's 2 yards of each, in case you're interested. I had 20 bundles of that in my shop, and I've sold some, but there's still some there because I just put them in yesterday. So I'm just going to put my needle down in there. And this is a really crinkled up piece, and I don't care because I'm just going to scrunch it up anyway. So the needle's down, but before I put the foot down, I'm going to just push some of this down there in a crinkly fashion. And I'll just keep pushing it. And there it is. So we'll just do the same thing on this one. I'm sorry. I packed up a bunch of the orders that I got yesterday. I got things listed in the shop yesterday evening, my time. The rest of the country, it was earlier because I'm on the East Coast, so I get the earliest time slot. So anyway, I don't remember what time it was. I think it was 9 o'clock or something, my time, so it was 7, 8, or 6 o'clock your time. And orders came in pretty quickly. So I actually, when I got up this morning, before I went to work, I packed half of the orders. I have the rest of them to pack today, so I can get them out. I took them to the post office today before I went to work. So I have to work again tomorrow, so I will pack the rest of the orders and take them to the post office before I go to work tomorrow. And there's still stuff in the shop. What did I put? I guess the only thing left from yesterday is the seam binding. Everything else I put in yesterday is gone, but I still have vintage postcards. I sound like an advertisement. I don't mean to, I'm sorry. We're here to do a craft project. It's only Tuesday and I feel like it's almost the end of the week already. I just feel like I've been busy and I feel like I've done more in a day and a half than I should have, so it feels like it's later in the week. Alright, so there's that pocket. And the last pocket, I need to find my pages for that pocket. I'm not using the pages with the really pretty designs. Something more like this with an all-over pattern, so I don't mind covering it. So I'll use that one. these are the pages. Oh, this one I don't have to stencil on, so I'll just go ahead and use that one. Neither of these need stenciling because I printed on the back of them. So this one is using, I guess I put that lace away already because I already have the pieces prepared, but I want to show it to you if I can remember what drawer it went in. Here it is. I have quite a bit of this one also, and I've had it for quite a while. I'm glad I'm finally using these. So it's quite thin, but it didn't show up well against my yellowish papers. So I did back them with cream colored yellowish cardstock, but because there's no pattern on it, it helps the lace stand out from it without being too stark, like if I put it on white. And everything blends together, but yet you can still see the lace. So I already sewed it to the cardstock, and I'm just going to sew it on. I am not going to fold it until it's sewn on, so that if I folded it and then sewed it on, I know my fold wouldn't match up exactly with the fold of the paper. So we're going to do it this way. Here's one. So I'm just going to fold my paper and fold the cardstock right along with it. Press it down. And there's another pocket. This one seems a little bit longer for some reason. Just a titch. I'll have to cut a little bit off of there. The laces don't go completely straight. They're kind of wavery. See, quite a bit of that sticks out. I'll just cut it off. It's sewn on here now, so I just cut off that whole row of stitching that sewed the lace to the cardstock, but it's sewn again right there, so it doesn't matter. Okay, now another thing I want to do is I'm finally going to use some of these. They're kind of like a napkin, but it was made to wrap around a glass of iced tea or whatever for your bridge party. So they're napkin-y, but several layers, and it's all embossed, pressed together. So it's not super flimsy, but I haven't used them. I got them at a flea market, and I sold some, but I kept some, and I think it's about time I used some, don't you think? There's some sheet music. And another sheet music. So one piece of sheet music in each journal is going to have these little butterfly napkin pockets. So I'm cutting it in half because I want the scalloped edge to be on both pieces that I'm using, but it's too long. So rather than cut off a scalloped edge, I did it this way, and then I can cut this part off to the right length. For this, I guess I can just fold it and determine where I need to cut it. And cut it. It's kind of pretty. I didn't back it with anything, I don't think. Did I? Let's check. I did. I did back it with something. Put a little dab of glue in the middle. Okay, that's more than a dab. I'll just do one of these pages while you're watching. I know it gets boring to watch somebody do the same thing over and over. I'm glad I'm finally using these napkins. They're more pink than peach, but there are a lot of butterflies featured in the digital kit. And the main colors are the yellowish backgrounds and peach and green. So they do look peach here. This part looks pink. So we're getting another pocket. These journals have a lot of pockets. Pockets are fun to make. So I am going to sew around here, but not up here. So I need to sew this down to the cardstock. And now I can sew it to the page. I'm using 3 of these coasters, and I don't, glass wraps or whatever you call them. I don't remember how many I had, but I have at least one left over. Okay, there's that pocket. So I will sew this on later, so you don't have to watch me do that. Let's see what else I can do. Oh yes, now this is just glued. See, there's a tuck spot, there's a tuck spot. There's a pocket. There's a pocket. Let's do that. I have these prepped. So this is for another sheet of music paper. So first, I sewed down this piece of lace and a ribbon on top of it. And then I added this tissue paper pocket. I have the tissue paper pockets prepped and ready. So what I did was I took a sheet of tissue paper and coffee dyed it. And then I cut a piece 5 inches wide and to the right height. So it's 7 inches high and 5 inches wide, and then I folded it in half so it's 2.5 inches wide. Gives it a little more strength. And then I zigzag stitched it here and here, and then it'll be sewn to the page here and here, of course. And I sewed on some sort of an ornament. So this is just a little tag, and it's open so you can tuck something in there, and the same with this and that and that. So let's start with a piece of lace. I used this coffee dyed lace for the first one I did. I'm gonna make sure you can see the title of the song here. This is the last piece I have of this, so the other ones will have to have a different lace. Let's find a piece of ribbon. I think this green goes pretty well with the greens in the kit. I put that on first because I would not be able to sew it if I put on the tissue paper pocket first, but I can sew the tissue paper pocket on while this is sewn on because I'm only going to be going around those edges. Tracing paper. It's tracing paper, not tissue paper. hung up on the lace. Yeah, got hung up on that. So I'm just going to stitch across that to flatten it out. So now we have this pretty decoration on the front and then the pocket on the back, so you could put something in there to write on, and then you could write something here, tuck something in there. Let me see what I did for the other side of that music page. Oh, there's another pocket. And this is coming unglued, so I am going to sew it. And I just tucked this vintage card in there. I love the colors of that. Alright, I do have some pockets pulled out. Oh, I already sewed on. I already collaged on them. Go me. I did that last night and forgot. So I might have to trim some of them. I think this one I have to trim a little bit. So these are some of the cards that I had made on the weekend with, I made them on Sunday with scraps of patterned cardstock. I just cut them to pocket size and punched a little thumb hole in them and had them all ready. So I just went through them last night to pick out ones that would go color scheme wise. And then I used a scrap of paper that's written on from a vintage ledger, so you can see some of the handwriting, and then a scrap of the coffee dye tracing paper behind a Mrs. Cogs image. So the one I just did is a tuck spot to open on one end, but these are going to be pockets. Okay, so this page is done except for finding things to tuck in the pockets. Now I have to find another piece of lace since I used up the one I had. I'm going to see if I can use some of my vintage lace before I go to my Hobby Lobby. My Hobby Lobby lace is actually more depleted than it's probably ever been. That's a pretty one right there. I don't have a peach colored ribbon, so I guess I'll stick with green. This is a slightly different shade of green, I think. Oh, very, very, very slightly different. I might as well just keep going with this one. This is Stampin' Up! Ribbon. here's the lace I'm going to use. Isn't that pretty and delicate? It's very subtle against the background because it matches the background. I don't know if I want to cover it up. I could put the ribbon behind it. That looks pretty and helps it stand out more. I think because this lace is thinner, I am just going to do a straight stitch along both of those edges so they're not too floppy. So that green ribbon is encased in the lace, and you can see it through the lace. Looks pretty. And I'll add this pocket. So this is the open end of the tissue. So when I folded it over, I stitched down the folded edge just to kind of press it together and give it some interest. So there's some stitching here and some stitching there. Just for interest and to keep it from being bubbly, I guess. Pillowy. I feel like something's getting caught every time I put it under there. Alright, so that looks pretty. And I will do the same on the other two music sheets. Probably with the same lace, the same ribbon, and these pockets. Where'd my lace go? It's right here. So I will finish them when you're not watching. What else can we do? This has a little cluster. I don't think I have enough clusters made in the right colors. This is, I have these repair tags, and I'm going to be putting them in my shop soon. I have them all counted out and bundled up. And they're smaller than Alterations tags that I've seen. They're like like a regular size shipping tag. It's 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And they're perforated. So as you can see, I just took the bottom off, and I'll use the bottom for something else. Take this out, and I'll take a piece of this pretty ombre seam binding and put it through the hole. And then I'll ink around it. I should have inked before I put the ribbon in it, but I didn't. So let me find some pages I can do that to. There's one. There's one. So with this with this book, I have that tag on the first signature and the third signature so that the ribbons are spaced apart. I don't remember why I didn't put it on this signature. Probably because I didn't want to cover up that paper. I think that was the paper. Yeah. So I just put 2 of them in. Now I need to ink before I sew. Now I'm going to sew it on, and I'll sew right through where I have the seam binding. Not the thick knotted part. Like, it doesn't go up that high, but I will sew through that ribbon. Well, it went through without a problem yesterday. Kind of got hung up today. something in there. I find that probably when I stop the camera and then I go back and do all the, finish up the things that I said I would do off camera, I'll probably still be pushing my sewing machine into your view because I find I do that. I'll have to do that on 2 more pages for these journals. See if I have another page. If I don't have another page in each journal that I want to, that I can cover up, then I just won't add another. I don't think I do. Because these pictures are pretty and I don't want to cover them. I suppose I could put one here. That's a possibility. Oh wait, yeah, there's one hidden away. I can do that one. I could do that one, but we'll do this one. I'm just going to grab a couple more of those tags. And I'll do these off camera. All right, now I think I gathered some pieces of fabric that I can make little clusters with. Yep, here I go, taking off my little sweater. I think I pulled out some colors that I thought, I don't think this is them, but these will work, and these would work. Just plain muslins. Peachy colors. Greeny colors. That's a good one. And yellows. I'll just put together a few clusters. Nope. Little ones. Here's some little pieces too. I'll take this piece of green. A little snippet of this yellow ribbon. And a little rosette. Make sure I get that ribbon in there. So there's one. Now I'll use this striped one. And this peach, the triangle. Piece of vintage lace. And call it good. Maybe one more little thing on it. Tiny bit of muslin. Teeny tiny bit of muslin. I wasn't on it enough and it kind of sucked it down. Let's get more onto the fabric. What are you doing? It just doesn't want to go. Start from the bottom. If you've got a knot underneath, it's just going to get stuck now. There we go. I'll have to stop the camera pretty soon. It's a nice bright yellow. Try a little snippet of this green. All right, we have three little clusters, and I'll keep going on them and then work on those other things I set aside. But we're close to an hour, so I'm gonna say goodbye to you, and I will show you more of these journals next time I work on them. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.